Hey, welcome to Veterans Radio. My name is Dale Throneberry, a CW2 helicopter pilot in the Army in Vietnam in 1969. I wanted to tell you today a little bit about what we do on Veterans Radio. Our mission statement is that we are dedicated to telling the story of America's veterans. And we think that that is very important because sometimes people don't really understand what people did when they were in the military. This whole thing got started back in 2003 when I was talking to a former client of mine about his final expenses and so forth. And I went out to see him. His name was Max Walters, and he lives out in Manchester, Michigan. And when I went in to talk to Max, he said, hey, Dale, I know you were in the military. Why don't you come out into the garage with me? I want to show you something. So I went into his garage, and in there was a huge 101st Airborne banner on the wall, a whole bunch of military paraphernalia and so forth. And 4 hours later, we came out of there, and his wife said he has never told anybody those stories. And I got to thinking about that, and I thought about my father. He had never told me his stories. He had been on Iwo Jima and Okinawa during World War II. Many other people of that generation never told their stories. And my generation hadn't either because of, we got kind of an unusual reception when we came home from Vietnam. And so most of us just went about our business and went back into civilian life as fast as we could. What triggered this whole thing, in addition to Max's story, was the invasion of Iraq in 2003. And in talking to a bunch of my Vietnam veterans, many of us had kind of, I guess you could call it, triggered by that because we felt that we were getting ourselves involved into another quagmire. And we were really concerned about how the veterans of this generation were going to be treated. And so I sat down with a friend of mine and I said, I got this idea. What do you think if we put together a radio program telling stories of veterans and their families and so forth? And his name was Bob Gould, and Bob just reached across the table and says, I'm with you. So with a very limited budget and very limited experience and just America can do, we went on the air in November of 2003 on a little tiny station over in Ypsilanti, Michigan called WSDS. In the meantime, we picked up two more contributors and partners, Ken Rogie from Manchester and Gary Lilly, who was a Navy veteran. Ken had been with the Armed Forces Radio in Thailand, so he was our expert. So we went on the air. And we've been doing that now for almost 20 years. We're coming up on our 1,000th episode. And I just wanted to let you know a couple of the things that we talk about on the program. When we talk about America's veterans, these are just ordinary people who have done extraordinary things in the service of their country. And, a couple of local people I've been thinking about is that maybe you are aware of Colonel Kettles. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Kettles is a Medal of Honor recipient for his actions as a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. And he lived over on Cross Street in Ypsilanti. And I was fortunate enough to have him on our program and talk to him about his adventures, as we call those. And it's very similar to some of the things that I did, obviously not to the extent of Medal of Honor, but that type of story is what we do. We talk to men, we talk to women, we talk to nurses, we talk to pilots, we talk to infantry people, we talk to everybody that we can think of. And so I would encourage you to follow us on Veterans Radio. You can go to our website, that's veteransradio.org. You can also follow us on Facebook and all the other forms of social media. But I think it's really important that we tell these stories of America's veterans. So if you've got a veteran in your family who hasn't opened up yet, try to get him to talk to you. It's really important because the only way some of these folks can get rid of their post-traumatic stress, the things that they've seen that they never imagined that they would see or that they would do, is to talk about it. And so that's what we do. And we bring on experts to talk about post-traumatic stress. We bring on experts from the VA to talk about health care and benefits. All of those things are what we cover on Veterans Radio. So I encourage you to tune into our program. We are on Sundays here locally, or you can just go to our website. That's veteransradio.org, and we've got almost 1,000 programs archived there, or talk to your magic device, Alexis, whatever it's called, and just say, hey, Alexis, play Veterans Radio. There are many, many episodes up there of our podcast. So until the next time that I see you, this is Dale Throneberry for all of us here at Veterans Radio. You are dismissed.